So this week's Season 2, Episode 5 of The Catch-Up, we're joined by Jen and Guy from Be Found Be Chosen. It's a really sort of intimate chat about how COVID affected a small business based up in Newcastle, and also how they pride themselves on a truthful relationship and being honest and direct with clients, and how having that sort of approach can really take you forward and build lasting relationships. It's something that I think both myself and Josh found really interesting, is hearing similarities between our businesses and how we move them forward in 2021. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We've been after getting you on for quite a while. I know we've never met personally, but Tim speaks quite highly of you around here, so we thought it'd be good to get you guys over and get things up and running.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yes, he does talk very highly of you over here. So then, how things been going for you guys recently? What's the last like month look like? This sort of weird mid/post-COVID world for Be Found Be Chosen?
Good question, Josh. I think it was scary to begin with, and obviously we're an e-commerce agency, and we deal with billable media for retailers online. Mm-hmm. I think in the first day we were all in the office when Boris made his announcement, and on the office wall we've got a great big screen and it's got all the clients on, and they're tracked against the ROAS of accounts and how they should be performing. Yeah. And a nice blend to just a sea of red, and we all just sat there kind of like,
wow,
and going, oh my god, right, we're finished, we're done, that's it. It's over. It was just, wasn't it, Guy? It was just horrific.
Oh, so you were watching it in real time as he was announcing it?
Over the course of 24 to 48 hours, our sea of clients turned brilliant red, and everything. Yeah.
There was a lot of spend getting turned off, and it was initially quite, everyone had a panic. It was quite worrying, wasn't it? Things quickly calmed down, though, I must say. I mean, that when furlough kicked in, consumers suddenly got the kind of disposable income back. Everyone took the 3-month mortgage holiday as well, I think. And then you had people using it as a bit of retail therapy as well. So obviously online sales just went skyrocketing, didn't they? Yeah. And then, the spend's got to go somewhere. If Primark or someone like Primark's got to make an £800 million loss in Q2, people still want to spend that money. So it all went online. So I think, it was choppy at first. It was worrying. We did have a panic. I think everyone did. Anyone that tells you they didn't would be lying.
Oh, we certainly did.
But now it's looking pretty rosy, if anything.
How were you going around getting people back on that spend? Were you finding yourselves having to do a lot of sort of comforting people? Were you hitting the phones, or was it a case of people just naturally getting back into it?
No, we backed off people because as an agency we don't tie people into contracts anyway. We make sure that it's all very fluid and based on us doing a good job. So it was just immediately we just let people walk away and back away, because they've got their own pipelines, they've got their own staff to pay, their own rent and their own problems. So we didn't chase them for any revenues to try and get them back on board. Yeah. Obviously, we just made it easy for them to say, right, look, post everything, we're here, anything you need, we'll help you out. And then it just organically trickled back. It was literally day after day, people coming back on and getting more confident, until the point where now it's a business is booming now.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, that's one of the most striking things about for you as an agency, I think, from outside anyway. It's very honest, and it's quite straight to the point, if that makes sense. A lot of your comms are very much based around bottom line, but it's still not super dry either. It's quite it's still quite funny in some of the ways you're putting stuff across.
I mean, I think from actually dealing with you guys as well, as Josh says there, it's the sort of, I'm going to get knocked for this as well, because I don't think anyone's sworn on the podcast, but it's the no bullshit approach, which, well, I'll have that. And as you mentioned, especially in this time that we've gone through, where there's a lot of fluff flying around and people throwing just generic stuff and, as you say, holding people to contracts, that being real with people was, and we talked about this before, the authenticity was something that a lot of companies were missing. And obviously, I imagine, as you say, Jen, this trickle back was caused by you guys being real people and actually like laying it out simple for them and going, there you are.
And that must be scary, because that's a long-term thinking. That's by not getting on the phone straight away and trying to sort of get those spends turned back on, that you've got to have some faith in what you're actually doing.
Yeah, and I think it's down to empathy as well. For God, I know what it's like to run a business, and I know what the wage bill feels like, and I know what the terror of meeting your commitments every month can feel like if you have a couple of bad ones. So it's that empathy to say to retailers, they'll order all their stock.
Yeah.
You know, people had stock in, they had staff. We had one lady, one of our clients, had literally just signed a lease the week before. A big retail premise. Oh God.
All warehousing.
No, it was literally a shop front lease for a.
God, even worse. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a central location, but major city as well. Like,
So she was paying for it big style then.
Absolutely. So I think it was the view was we're all in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
God, we're really passionate about the businesses that we look after as well. We want people to succeed, and that's our job. And so there was never a case of making sure that we had our revenues back. It was making sure our retailers.
How natural was that a thing for you then? Was that something where you had to sit down and discuss the approach you were taking, or was it something where that was sort of so ingrained within the agency that was just what everyone assumed was happening and went straight away? Or was it sort of emergency meeting, Cobra style?
No, that's very much us. I think it comes back to the business that we're running as well. Do you know, people are trusting us with millions of pounds worth of revenue every year.
Yeah.
Serious money, and that's a big responsibility. And I think to take somebody's spend and take, like say, millions of pounds off a retailer every year to spend on their behalf, that's the trust and the empathy behind that, or the goodwill behind that is ingrained in what we do as a business. So it comes naturally that we want the very best for our clients, and we take what we do for them very, very seriously. So,
has any recent news or any of the recent announcements seen much of a change then, or has that sort of paid off in the way you've handled it previously?
I don't know. We haven't seen anything yet. I think it's been pretty stable so far. Would you say the same, Guy?
Yeah, it's kind of going back into normal. So September historically is a bit of a strange month. People kind of half prepare for Black Friday, Christmas coming up. Spend tends to drop a little bit, so it's kind of normal in a lot of ways. There's no more recent announcements have affected, I wouldn't say, but the clients that kind of had the jump in March are kind of maintaining those levels, I would say. I think the customers they've won in that period are kind of becoming repeat purchases, so that's always nice to see as well.
Yeah, I think that's what we're focusing on now as well. I think what sort of saw us through that period was we stepped back, we took a look at what we were doing, and we tried to make all our statistics and all of the numbers and things we were reading and analysing ourselves. We pushed them all out to everyone basically. We made a page on our site and let people come and see trends and see where people were spending, what they were spending on. Yeah. And I think through that we garnered quite a lot of goodwill with it, similar to how you guys are running things. But that was a case of we didn't know what to do. We just thought, what can we do to help? And the platitudes weren't really cutting it, I think, at the point where people were sending emails saying, we're still here, don't worry, like maybe you spend a bit more money. We sort of took a little bit of a risk. We started the podcast and we put all our stats out there on Front Street, I think. And we're finding that with a lot of people we're talking to, said James from the Social Core. I think he was saying honesty and sort of empathy and clarity was what kept them. Obviously, they had a lot going on, but it's what saw them come out of it pretty smoothly.
Yeah, especially considering they have again, it was similar to you guys where you deal with like hospitality as well. Obviously, I think Social Core mentioned they did like car dealerships and things like that, and obviously that was massively. It was just shut down effectively when it really nobody was buying a car. So it's about that adapting industry as well, and obviously making sure that, again, that messaging is correct throughout. Everybody's got the salary straight, and we're all moving correctly to actually help people rather than sort of line our own pockets again.
Yeah, it's that LinkedIn thing as well, isn't it, where everybody sort of loves the smell of their own farts for a lack of a better term. And I think people were scared to talk. People got, because they were so used to sort of box checking, as it were. And saying certain things at a certain time and what time they got up in the morning and how many runs they went for before they sort of logged on. But when it came to actually saying something honest, everyone was a bit like, hang on,
what are you doing?
What am I meant to be saying here? Like, what am I meant to be doing?
But hasn't it been fantastic to see LinkedIn stop people bleating on about working from home or wanting to work from home?
Oh my God. It's amazing. I sort of feel drawn into it. I feel like I have to post stuff. And really, I don't want to. I'm looking at it, I'm scrolling, grimacing as I go through everything.
I resented working from home. I genuinely did. Like, I was just sat there looking at the same four walls going, oh, hell, can I please just go out the house now and do something useful rather than, like, no offence, because I know we're on a Zoom call now, but Zoom calls do my head in as well. Like, I was sat there going, right, there's another one done, right, on the next 2 hour stint. And it was like, I don't know if that's been the same for you guys, obviously liaising with clients and stuff via Zoom. I know you have like quite personal relationships with a number of clients as well. Like obviously when we went on that night out, there was that, I can't remember the chap's name now, my bad. But obviously there was a couple of clients there and that sort of thing. And I think again, that sort of attitude probably sees you well in this side of things again.
We had British Engines with us that night, didn't we? It was I know. Well, it's just been. I was going to go and see him, but then I was thinking, oh God, I'm worried about going into people's offices. I miss. I love our clients.
Yeah.
And lovely being with them, and that's all I've really done as my main job is go out to see the clients and make sure that we've got a presence on site as well as online.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How have you sort of adapted to that then? What's taken that place? Has it been more Zoom calls and things like that, or?
I've had to be more structured now. So I think before, I guess our attendance on site was sort of regular but not structured, and just we've got everybody kind of on a cycle where we're having a Zoom call with them every 2 weeks, and or it can be a week or every month. It just depends. So we're having a lot of very structured online calls, but I'm totally with you. That do my head in.
It's so hard as well because you sit there and it's like every meeting's like I start talking like hey, all right, and then you look at it, it's like all right, audio's not connected. I've just reeled off some mint sentence. And nobody did it.
Some mint sentence.
Some quality wording. That's what you want.
My one's the dogs going mental in the background.
Yeah. And there's the little delay that we have. Even here, we've got it. And there's the dog going mental. Then there's someone charger breaking. It just all adds up to the most perfectly chaotic. And there's just nothing natural about it, is it? We get to this point when we're recording these, sort of like when we're getting to this point now, it finally gets natural. But that first minute, that first 5 minutes is excruciating of any Zoom call. I don't care what anyone says. And I felt like I was at the point where I had to sort of say, oh yeah, I love working from home. I don't like sitting at my dining room table working all day. I'll tell you right now. It sucks.
I'm used to it.
Pardon?
I'm used to it.
Are you getting used to it? Are you enjoying it? Or are you just getting used to it, do you reckon?
You know what? I've got to confess, I really am enjoying it.
Are you? What is it you like about it the most?
I think being at home and being in the house, and I don't know. I feel like I work because I don't get any time off.
Yeah.
Whenever on holiday, so I feel like I work all year to get to Christmas to have like some time in the house.
Okay.
Lovely. It's been really lovely.
For me, I couldn't make that break between the end of the day and like home time. I was moving from one chair to another, and that was it. Like I'd move literally a foot to my left. I'm like, oh, I'm not at work anymore now.
Great, tease out now. Yeah, on to the next one.
Well, we'd be sat on Zoom calls till like 7 or 8 at night, and we wouldn't know what time. We'd be looking and be like, oh, hang on, it's 7:30. Right, I'm just going to go. And all I'd do is close my Zoom window, and I'd still be on the computer.
I think genuinely the only way I knew was by the amount of like beer bottles on a Friday that had accumulated to me right, and I was like, all right, there's 9 now. That must be, oh yeah, I finished work now, good job's a good one. Let's move forward from this.
Well, it's true. Like my wife, she loves it. She's working from home now, and it's the best. She says it's one of the best things that's ever happened to her work-wise. So yeah, it's a weird one.
And have you got home with you, Josh?
I've got a kid. Yeah, I've got. How old is he? Shit.
2.
We can cut this, can't we? Yeah, he's 2. That was awful. That was terrible when we had him at home. The first week, I think we were in A&E. The 1 week in. He'd fallen over and hurt his nose, so I felt like the worst parent ever. I was like, oh god, how am I going to last this if there's a full 6 months of it? But we got through it in the end. He's been back in nursery a while now, though. I think childcare is the biggest thing that's affected us getting people up and working as well. I think that's been our biggest struggle, hasn't it?
No, I don't know why I'm nodding. I don't have a child. I don't even have animals. I'm just sat here going, yeah, good one. Right.
Like everything else about the lockdown's been fine. We've managed to get people working pretty solidly. Everyone's been pretty happy with it, but that's when the struggles were getting everything around the schools, I think. Have you had much trouble with sort of people not being able to work as they normally would with your guys? Or has everyone been pretty fine with it?
Fantastic. Our team couldn't have been better. Those would begin with in the office, but this is, I think, enhanced how we work.
Right. Okay. Is that from a productivity side, or is that from like culturally?
I think Tim knows our team. He's been drink with us, so he'll testify. It's 50% that, 50% that. So we probably did have a little bit too much banter. But no, I think it's transformed the way we work, and we got rid of the office. So we've got rid of that. We've got some temporary workspace now, but just I think more with the aim of the guys. It's theirs. It's not ours, by the way. I'm not going to go in there and sit and work in it. Yeah. So the space is office space now for the guys. They can go in and use it as they wish, just to get out of the house. But tied into an office anymore, and you guys don't want to be tied in an office, do you?
No, I think when you come together less often, it means when you are together as a team, you really knuckle down during that day, or that afternoon you're together. You really make sure you've come together for a purpose, and you get whatever you need to get done.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really good on productivity, I'd say. Like, you come together, discuss what needs to happen, and then can kind of go away for the rest of the week. And if you want to go and walk the dog at lunch, that's fine.
Yeah.
Take 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever. But as long as you come together next week and whatever we've agreed on and you've done it, we're not going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So it's been great. It has been really good, and on a productivity standpoint.
How have you structured that then? How are you structuring how many times you get back together? Is it something where you've got it in a calendar, or is it literally as and when you need to do it?
We fell quite quickly into a fortnightly thing.
Okay.
So like, we're literally just coming together as a company, and there's we're a small business. There's 8 of us. But it's just getting to a point where, right, using that meeting to work on the business and not in it, right? What needs done, which accounts needs handling, who needs this bit of work, that bit of work, and agreeing it between us all.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it has worked really well. I think it's an advantage of being a bit smaller. That I think that if we were any bigger, that would have been really hard.
That's struggle.
Yeah, but I think because we're the size we are, a bit more agile, it's been pretty easy.
So do you see that for the long term then? Is that something that you think, is that something you're enjoying enough that you think you're going to be doing it for the long term?
It's a funny one. I mean, at first I was loving the work from home. I was like, oh, it's brilliant. And then you just start to miss a bit of, like, as Tim was saying, I'm looking at the same 4 walls. You need that bit of breakup. So I'd like to settle in long term. I think maybe 2-3 days in, 2-3 days out, if we're looking at a working week. But the challenge will be as we grow, because we've got ambition. We want to kind of hire more people and do more better work where we can. If more people come in, how are we going to organise the team? Will that fortnightly meeting still be as effective when there's 16 people in it versus 8? It becomes a different conversation then. But for now, for the next 12 months or so, this is how we're going to operate, I think.
Has it had much of an impact on your plans then? So, like, say the plans you had for the next year, is that, like, in regards to working from home and how often you're getting in office space and things like that, has it changed much?
I think it's made those plans better.
Okay.
It's COVID's the break that we've had. It's been, I don't know what it's like for you guys, but it's busman's holiday for us. We're trying to just launched our new website. Just recently had some of our client testimonial videos filmed. So we've had a full brand relaunch, which I'm sure if we'd been in the office, we wouldn't have got round to. And it's
interesting.
I know specifically for Guy, because Guy focuses on the direction of the business, and he's very much fundamentally part of growing the business and the recruitment and the expansion. And it's given Guy, I think you'll speak for yourself, hasn't it given you the time to really focus on the business plans as well?
Yeah, I mean, you do by proxy of not being in, you kind of step back and think, Christ, where are we heading here? Why do we exist? What's going on? Who do we want to work with? Which hires do we need? You know, and it goes back to like hiring for the attitude and training for the skill. I think we've kind of realized as a company that that's really important to us as a thing. So like the hires we're making now are just like, are you cut from the be found, be chosen cloth? Are you the kind of person that really wants to get better and will work hard if you need to? And you know, is really driven about that honest approach that we've got, and we've, you know, embedded from day one. So it's you kind of do step back and realize, this is what we're about. It's one.
That's cool. I mean, it I suppose it is the ultimate strengthener in that regard, isn't it? Because you've got to start getting people in now that you know you can trust, and that you know are bought in completely from the ground up.
And it's exactly that part of it. Part of our team structure is the attitude. We've got we're so lucky to have the team that we've got, and you need an office with a team like that.
Yeah,
you don't know what they're doing. You don't need to know if they're at work. You don't need that governance with the right people. So
you give the trusted people before kind of they give you a reason not to trust them.
Yes,
I think that's the way to approach it.
That's awesome. I think you can tell that you guys have got a very strong ethos like that. When you look at any of your social stuff or anything, that the content that you guys are putting out, it just seeps through it all, I think. And I think that is a awesome strength to have, I think, definitely.
Oh, thank you. That's really good to hear, actually. It's what we aim for, and it's often hard to put into words, isn't it? If you want to say, look, we are a radically honest company, it's all well and good you're saying that, but like, does it literally seep through every single bit of communication you're putting out there? Yes, exactly. You can quickly tell if someone's bullshitting you or not, can't you? So it's, that's really good to hear. Thank you.
No, it's I'm glad you accepted the compliment. It really is something that comes through. It shines through. In fact, you got it. And I always think the first people to say that they're super honest and no bullshit are the first ones to bullshit you as well, completely. So if it doesn't seep through the rest of the comms, then you're onto a loser from.
It's like that one where it's like, I'm not going to lie to you. As soon as you start a sentence like that, it's like, I wonder what's coming.
It's lying, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's a great credit to you guys, because it's me and Tim are always laughing when we're on LinkedIn or something, send each other links of stuff you're putting on. Some of the testimonials that I've seen recently as well. The class. It's something we've been striving towards as well. The honesty and clarity of things when we do it. We try and do it as much as we can. Obviously, there's some things you can't fully go over, but where and when we do, we try and be as clear and honest with things as we possibly could. Tim's glaring at me as I say that.
You guys must have had a busy year as well this year, because I know we share a few clients and a lot of the retailers brought forward some of their sales days.
Yeah, you could say that.
What's it been like, guys?
It's been, as I say, it was the sort of thing that you both explained to begin with, where we had that dip initially where people were going, right, we don't know what the hell's going on. I couldn't tell you what my physical shop's going to do for the next 6-7 months. So now I need to either, number one, look at restructuring budgets from the shop into e-com, or number two, I need to batten down the hatches and just shut off, essentially. And we had a few people where, obviously, as you mentioned, furlough kicked in and sort of eased that nerve, sorted all that stuff out. And then as we move forwards, we were getting more people going, right, we are still spending online, generating traffic. How do we get more from this? How do we make the most of it? And I think we had a couple of decent size inquiries towards, like, as we started moving through August. And I think that's when we were looking, going, right, great, we're back on track. And then the new announcement occurred. And it was like, right, okay, second lockdown's possible. See what happens here then.
And I think us starting like this, starting the podcast, again, like Guy said there, we really did stop and take stock. It did give us a chance to step back and go, right, what is this? What are we doing? Are we doing the right thing here? Are we doing the right thing there? And again, it was just a bit like what you guys doing, getting ourselves out there as much as possible and showing what we actually are like. Especially on those like crowded social channels, everybody is saying the same thing as everybody else. It becomes a sort of box checking operation after a while. And it just seems, it was a bit of a revelation. It was that, you can just be yourselves. You can just be honest. You can just be clear with stuff. And people will react to you a lot more. Not only a lot more, but sort of a lot more favourably as well. If you're just more honest about where you actually are with things. Whether that's bad, whether that's good, whether you're in a bit of a worse place than you were. people just seem to be reacting really well to it. That's from a marketing perspective anyway. Tim probably doesn't care too much about that. He's just got numbers in his eyes right now when he's looking at me.
I'm just sat there going, no, from my side of things as well, I think, as Josh said there, I think the key term, and something I heard, I think about 9 million times during lockdown, was, as Josh says, cutting through that noise, where, as you say, you'll see sales directors from bigger companies and ourselves, like, but speaking for us both here, talking about how many clients have been boarded at the start of the year, how many brews they've made in the past 20 minutes, how many dogs have walked in the past year, whatever it may be, I don't know, all that stuff. And you look and you go, right, that's great, but what the hell does that mean to Mr. Joe Bloggs, whose shop is now shut and he can't make money through there?
Yeah.
Like, what's that matter to anyone?
It is that. It's asking what our clients were actually, how they were going through it. I know, again, it sounds like a platitude, but instead of just saying, how can we help? Saying, no, this is how we're going to help. This is what we're going to do for you. This is what we'll do. It's not like always saying we're here. Yeah, we're here if you need us. That's basically saying, oh, just keep spending. Mm-hmm. And no one was actually going about doing anything to put anything right for people. So I think those people who are investing in that type of stuff now are definitely, you can see who's done it and you can see how it's working for people as well. It's quite obvious, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Cool. I think we've pretty much leathered through COVID there, so that's COVID sorted out the way. I think we've sort of covered it a bit, and obviously it was interesting to hear. I think the mad part is, from my head, it always seems different when we talk about like decentralising an office and people not working from an office. But as you say, it's down to the team that you guys have assembled at Be Found Be Chosen. Where does 2021 take you guys then?
Leave that to Guy.
There you go. Just a business plan.
We want fewer, better clients.
Mm-hmm.
So like we want to keep that radical honesty, the clarity upon which we're founded, and do it for people where we can really become kind of business partners with them, rather than just, there's doing marketing and there's thinking about marketing.
Yes.
Two very separate disciplines, but both incredibly important.
Yeah.
And as we look at the future and say, look, Facebook are launching, they launched a business manager thing that makes your advertising dead easy the other day. The doing of marketing is only going to get easier as AI takes off, as machine learning takes off. Mm-hmm. So we have to be a lot more strategic and think about it a lot more. It's about looking at a business and saying, right, no, you need this and that for these reasons. Mm-hmm. Yes, you could do all these loads of things and that'd all potentially be great, but let's calm down, let's focus.
Yeah.
And it's for our future, it's being able to provide that strategic direction to a few clients, as well as the stuff we're good at doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been quite an interesting pivot. Different skill set.
I suppose you were naturally prepared for that, though, the way you're so personal with your clients as well, though.
Yeah, the way we manage an account is very open. We talk to them a lot. We've got this thing at the company, like email's too slow. So everything's pretty much done on a WhatsApp where it can be.
That's cool.
That's where things get done quicker, if you like. Yeah. If it gets buried at the bottom of your email pile, it's just not going to get done if it's not important enough, is it? But if it's a quick WhatsApp, like, can you change this setting on this account and do this, that, and the other, it just gets done, which is brilliant. So
that's cool.
Working quickly, working effectively.
That's a pretty strong USP, that, actually. The fact that, so would your account managers literally have be WhatsApping clients like multiple times a day, and that's no issue?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, I'm managing a few accounts at the minute, and the better ones are in WhatsApp groups. And it's if there's a minor problem, it's, Guy, check this problem, get it done, and it's kind of done within. Next time I'm making a coffee, rather than sitting down at my desk and getting started, it's like I'm still at work and I can just do it really quickly without having to do this whole thing,
Yeah, that's amazing. That's much better than putting a ticket in and getting your ticket has been logged. You will get a response within 1 to 3 days. Yeah. Then on day 3, you're sort of emailing someone going, I'm sure it was 3 days, 5 minutes ago. And you're just chomping at the bit for it. Yeah, it's really...
Aren't they? I mean, if you're suddenly a decline in online revenue has happened on a Monday, you can't wait till the Friday. one day that you need the response.
Just give us 4 days to fix your bank account. No worries.
Yeah.
Your rent can wait. Don't worry.
Well, that's the thing. It's not often 4 days for an answer. It's often 4 days for another question to come back to
For
you.
an acknowledgement, yeah.
Yeah. When someone needs a bit more information, that ticket that takes 1 to 3 days, all of a sudden, in reality, it takes 10 to 12 because they've got more questions. They need to clarify more stuff. So that WhatsApp back and forth that's pretty strong. Like, I know it sounds like.
I think as well, I think there's a double-sided edge, sort of double-sided sword in our business that when you make somebody successful and you make them a lot of money, you're on a bigger fish hook than you were if you were underperforming for 6.
Yes.
If you're making somebody money, they want their money and how much they're getting what's coming in and what's happening every day. If the performance dips, they're straight on it. So it's that relationship, especially when you grow these accounts and you grow these clients, you need that closeness and you need that open dialogue 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because if something dips on the weekend, it has to happen.
That's interesting. So you guys are literally, you're on call when people are wanting to get hold of you, regardless of the time or when it is.
7 days a week, anytime.
You saying you're enjoying working at home makes a lot more sense now. In light of that, all of a sudden you realise that it gets more important when you're literally on like that.
Mm-hmm.
In bed, in the morning, late at night, Sunday, you name it. Honestly, because the internet doesn't stop, does it? So they're retailing in 24 hours a day, and the same retailers are sitting down over night time. They might be logging in to look at the figures, and if something's not right, we get it straight away and we're on it.
What's interesting that because those peak times as well are the times when nobody's at work, when you're not in the office.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's a super strong USP. I know it doesn't necessarily sound like rocket science from the outside, but to me that's super refreshing to hear. You've got such a level of service. Especially, I can't imagine it's an SLI or anything like that, or an SLA, sorry. It's just literally a personable agreement.
It feeds back into our, plans for next year is to make sure, because the other thing as well, I don't want the staff run ragged.
Yeah.
Even run ragged. I don't want anybody, they work hard enough as it is. Mm-hmm. So about getting the right kind of work in, the right kind of clients. And you can cope, a strategist can cope with 10 of those versus somebody in another company. And we've had people come for jobs who've had 200 accounts to look after.
Mm-hmm.
200 accounts.
That's a busy old weekend.
Yeah, and those people aren't getting any love, and then they're not. Those companies aren't growing. They're not getting any, advice on how to scale their businesses. So we want fewer clients that we can do really, really good work with. But then you can give that kind of love when you're looking after fewer clients.
It's interesting. I think it's something you both touched on. So are you almost prospecting clients now as well? When you're going out, you're seeing if they're a good fit for you.
Oh yeah,
that's cool. So is that becoming something that's more important to you guys as you sort of start working, like I mentioned, as you look towards 2021? Are you going to be looking for?
That's cool. That's growth of the business now. It's about us. It's about finding, and I think that's right to do. I think we're not in a position where we need to panic now and work for the sake of taking on work. What we want is a long-lasting relationship, and we want the client to be as much of a good fit for us as we offer them. Because obviously, we're a quite an outspoken setup. We're good fun. Don't toe the corporate line, as you know, and that actually doesn't suit everybody either. So it doesn't mean we're a cup of tea. But what we want is people who are we're going to be partners with them. We're going to be part of the business and working part of their team. We don't want clients who are going to come and, leave after 3 months, or people who dot around. We want somebody we're going to stay with and just see growth. And it's beautifully having a guy. We've got some fantastic relationship with those clients, haven't we?
Yeah. You're dead right in what you're saying, Josh. And the way I like to think of it is you can either be sales led or marketing led in a company. If you're sales led, you're a lot more short termist, and you want to hit your quarterly targets and make sure there's extra zeros in the bank and all that kind of thing. But really, when you're in business with a true marketing hat on, you're in it for the long term, and you're doing it because you love it. And if you love it, you do better work, and the money kind of comes as a byproduct. So we're absolutely looking for people we can, look after for the long term. and it comes quite naturally. I think you start small and you take bits of work on that you maybe don't know if it's going to work or not. As you go around the block a few more times, you think, right, no, that's a business we can literally transform if we do this properly. If we do what we've done in the past and apply it to them, we know this is going to work. And you've got the evidence to back it up,
Yeah, so how long would that... So when you first prospect a client and you first start them initial conversations, is it something that takes a long time to work out whether you're a good fit then, or is it something you've pretty much got a gut feeling for?
Bit of both, I'd say. There's certainly an emotional element. You can just you can feel from talking to someone if you've both got the same growth mindset, and you'll ask them questions like, where do you want to be in 12 months' time? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? And you can judge off the answers to that question.
Yeah.
There's also an objective element to it as well. I mean, we want to work with people that have got X amount of products in the store, potentially stocking a number of brands. They're at a certain level of turnover, and make sure they're at a level of a size of business where we can work with as well.
Awesome.
I think that's interesting as well. Just to touch back on, like, as you mentioned at the start of it, obviously you guys don't do contracts as well. So that's almost a confidence thing, saying, look, you're of this certain size, you're of this certain mindset. You don't have to sign anything long term with us, but we'll prove month on month return and grow you because we have confidence in ourselves, our confidence in our team, confidence in the way we do things.
Yeah.
To obviously kick those people on and make the most of it, as you say.
It's that empathy and clarity again, isn't it? Like Jennifer said earlier, it's literally we know we're not going to need a contract with you because we know if we're going to accept you and we're going to have you on as a client that we're going to do all we can, so there's going to be no need for it to happen, really.
Yeah, done.
Awesome. Super refreshing. I think we're coming up to about the end there. So thanks for joining us, guys. It's been awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. That was class.
Thank you.
Thank you.